Good evening. 15 polling booths set up by Occupy Central for its unofficial referendum have closed and will reopen next Sunday. But people can still vote online on political reform. So far, almost 700,000 people have cast their ballots. ATV's Emily Sue reports.
It was unofficial, but the referendum was a crowd puller. People streamed into polling stations set up by Occupy Central in Sha Tin. Hong Kong University, Causeway Bay and 12 other polling stations across the city starting at 10 this morning. The three core organizers of the unofficial vote on political reform were at the Polytechnic University in Hong Kong. Hong Kong University law professor Benny Tai proclaimed the plebiscite a resounding success, pointing to the many people of all ages who sacrificed their Sunday morning to turn up and vote. The number of ballots has already far exceeded the 100,000 votes Occupy Central were originally seeking to declare the exercise a success. Hundreds of thousands have voted, either online since Friday or personally at polling booths that opened today.
Any responsible government cannot ignore such a strong view of the people. I am expecting that there will be more people coming out.
Security Chief Rim Ski-Yun hit back, saying a responsible government needs to abide by the basic law, which rules out referendums.
The voting today cannot be regarded as legally binding, let alone be regarded as a so-called referendum. And for that reason, it can only be regarded as no more than an expression of opinion by the general public.
Former Chief Secretary Anson Chan ridiculed Yun's stance, saying that the more officials try to smear the campaign, the more it will encourage people to take part.
The massive cyber attacks and the constant efforts to discredit the entire voting process just makes people even more determined to exercise their basic right to express their views through the voting box.
Chan, who also chairs the Hong Kong 2020 think tank, urged people to vote in person, following allegations that some opposed to the referendum have used the identity cards of others to vote online.
That way we can overcome whatever attempts to sabotage this whole voting process.
Voters have to answer two questions. The first asks them to choose one of the three shortlisted political reform proposals. The second is a yes or no question. Should lawmakers veto a universal suffrage bill they deem to be unacceptable?
All three electoral blueprints allow people to select chief executive candidates for the 2017 election. This idea has been shot down by the central and SAR governments, which insist that only the official nominating committee can pick candidates.
Because that's the real choice that's the real meaning of freedom, right? I don't want a small bunch of people to ask me what I want to vote for.
Everyone has a right to vote. So why I have to nominate a representative, so-called representative, to represent for me? So this is not fair to me.
Chief Secretary Carrie Lam, the government's point woman on political reform, refused to comment on the huge turnout. The polls close next Sunday, but the public will have to wait and see if the administration's report on constitutional development, due sometime next month, will reflect the views expressed in this unofficial exercise.
Many of those who turned up at Occupy Central polling stations were registering a protest vote against China's white paper on Hong Kong. Others cast ballots in the unofficial poll, hoping that their children will enjoy full democracy. Here's Emily Sue.
Beijing's white paper, reasserting its complete authority over Hong Kong, angered many who felt it was a betrayal of the Sino-British deal, giving the SAR a high degree of autonomy.
If there is no such a white paper, definitely I won't come here today.
The contentious document was released last Tuesday, 10 days before the Occupy Central movement launched its unofficial referendum on universal suffrage for the 2017 chief executive election. The paper declared that Beijing has the last word on Hong Kong affairs and accused some people of having a confused and lopsided understanding of the one country, two systems policy. Many cast a protest vote against the document.
I have no confidence in the Communist Party of China.
I think it does not respect what Hong Kong people think and not respect what they have signed to the English, to the British government in the 80s.
The 1984 Sino-British Joint Declaration said Hong Kong would be in charge of everything except defense and foreign affairs.
I want to let the Beijing government to see the will of the people in Hong Kong. I know that even I voted, the Beijing government will never hear us.
Parents who turned up with their children say they were voting for the sake of the younger generation.
Because for my kids, I want to vote for his future, for freedom, for better Hong Kong.
If we don't step out, then our next generation will be suffer from the unfair political situation.
Many elderly people flock to polling stations because they don't own a smartphone or know how to use the internet. But many will be able to vote online next time.
Our helpers have taught them how to use the tablets, and many of them feel very comfortable and very easy to use it. So I think this is a very good civic education.
Others prefer the traditional way of voting.
I think voting on the internet is not very secure.
Just kind of like to see the atmosphere, kind of show my support to everyone.
15 voting booths on Hong Kong Island, Kowloon and the New Territories open for 12 hours starting at 10 a.m. The booth at City University Station will stay open throughout the week from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., while more booths will be set up next Sunday, the last day of the unofficial plebiscite.
A war of words erupted between two rival groups outside a polling station in Causeway Bay today. The police had to step in to separate the two sides. About a dozen members of the pro-government Caring Hong Kong Power gathered outside the Professional Teachers Union offices, one of 15 polling stations across the city, and called on people not to vote in what they called an illegal referendum. They waved signs that read, "Voting means you support an independent Hong Kong," and "Think before you vote, you are sending your children to the battlefield." The group's convener, Li Kaka, said the referendum does not represent the voice of the people. She questioned the poll's authenticity, claiming her group had logged onto the online platform using false identity card and mobile phone numbers and still managed to vote. One of the three political reform plans being voted on in the unofficial referendum is from Scholarism, and members of the student group were in Causeway Bay to urge people to vote.
I think this voting actually provides a real choice because it shows that many Hong Kong people, they support civil nomination and they hope that they can really have nomination rights in the future.
Caring Hong Kong and the students traded verbal insults, prompting plainclothes police officers to step in and separate them. Scholarism's Joshua Wong rejected the government's insistence that the ballot has no legal effect. He said if the referendum didn't make a difference, why was there a massive cyber attack on the voting platform by hackers who have yet to be identified? He also dismissed Caring Hong Kong's claims that people can cast ballots using a fake login because the voting platform built by Hong Kong University's public opinion program is able to verify the identity of voters. Also locally, 10 people were injured when their van plunged down a hill in the New Territories, and a row broke out at a public forum over a massive hack attack against pro-democracy campaigners. ATV's Winner Wong reports.
There was a heated argument at today's City Forum over who was behind last week's massive cyber attack on the electronic platform for Occupy Central's unofficial referendum and the website of Chinese-language newspaper Apple Daily. Jimmy Lai, chairman of Next Media, which owns the pro-democracy newspaper, suggested that Beijing was behind the hack attack. His statement triggered a sharp response from Young DAB chairman Holden Chow, who said Lai had no proof.
If you have that kind of speculation, I can also have speculation on some other parties or even some other countries to orchestrate that kind of attack on the system. So I don't think that we should have too much speculation on, say, the central government orchestrate sort of a hacking to attack the system so that the people cannot cast their votes.
Chow suggested that the hacking could have been done by the victims to gain sympathy. A light goods vehicle plunged down a hillside in the New Territories at around 2 this morning, injuring 10 people. The driver lost control near Shekong village on Route Twisk while turning a corner on the steep road. The van crashed into a 3-meter-high railing and rolled 7 meters down a hill before landing in a water catchment area. A woman passenger broke her leg and was trapped inside the vehicle for half an hour before firefighters rescued her. The driver and 8 male passengers were also injured and were taken to various hospitals. The 37-year-old driver failed his breathalyzer test and was arrested for drunk driving. He has been released on bail. Financial Secretary Zhang Zeng has criticized lawmakers for delaying a finance committee vote on developing 2 new towns in the Northeast New Territories. Writing on his blog, he said the filibuster has resulted in a backlog of 50 funding applications. Zeng warned that if lawmakers resort to delaying tactics, welfare, educational, and medical projects will be affected. Winna Wong, ATV News.
A man in Xinjiang has apologized for an axe attack that injured 4 people in a packed chess hall in the restive region. The suspect appeared on state television to say he was persuaded by a gang to join a holy war. ATV's Anne-Marie Sim reports.
A teenager accused of being one of 3 people who carried out an axe attack at a packed games hall in Xinjiang earlier this month has confessed on state television. I'm sorry, I apologize for my behavior. I just want to say I'm sorry, said 19-year-old Mirzati. Wearing an orange prison vest and handcuffs, he said the 2 other members of his group had convinced him to take part in a holy war that would set him on a direct path to heaven. The axe attack, in which 4 people were hurt, occurred in the city of Hotan. 2 of the attackers died from serious injuries, while Mirzati was arrested. He said that he spent 5 seconds observing people in the chess and card hall before he began stabbing. State television said his confession came too late and all that is waiting for him now is the strict punishment of the law. The incident was one of several violent attacks that rocked the mainland in recent months and which Beijing blamed on Muslim separatists from Xinjiang, the traditional home of ethnic Uyghurs. Just yesterday, the police in Xinjiang's Kashgar prefecture shot dead 13 attackers after they rammed a car into a police station and detonated explosives. Last Monday, mainland authorities executed 13 people for terrorist attacks in Xinjiang and ordered the death penalty for 3 others for their role in a violent terror attack in Beijing's Tiananmen Square last October. 2 tourists, 1 Chinese and 1 from the Philippines, were killed, and 40 other people were hurt when a car rammed through a crowd. The 3 people in the vehicle also died. In March, a horrific knife attack at a railway station in the southern city of Kunming left 29 dead and 143 wounded. Last month, 39 people were killed and more than 90 wounded when 2 vehicles ploughed through a crowded market in Urumqi.
Sunni militants in Iraq have taken control of 4 cities in the western province of Anbar after government troops withdrew. Despite the setback, Baghdad said it's determined to stop the extremists from advancing towards the capital. It has sent an armoured convoy to beef up positions north of Baghdad. Troops in the town of Udahim raided premises where the militants were said to be storing explosives and arrested a suspect. Air Force planes are also bombing rebel positions. The Sunni militants are taking advantage of a weak army and dissatisfaction with the Shiite-led government to make headway in Iraq. The Pope has denounced torture and called for its abolition. Addressing tens of thousands of pilgrims in St. Peter's Square, the Roman Catholic leader said it's a mortal sin to practice torture. He was speaking ahead of the day designated by the UN to remember torture victims. Thursday has been set aside to mark the occasion. Earlier, the Pope banished mafia members from the church as he took a strong stance against organised crime. In the World Cup, Lionel Messi is being hailed as Argentina's saviour as he answered the prayers of fans and scored a late winner against Iran. ATV's Raymond Leung reports.
The odds were stacked against Iran when they took on Group F opponents Argentina, one of the hot favourites in this year's World Cup in Brazil. Still, Iran had their fair share of chances early on. On the other side of the pitch, it wasn't surprising that the Iranian defense kept Lionel Messi in check, giving the Argentine captain little room to shine. A precise pass by Pablo Zabaleta in the 15th minute was squandered by Gonzalo Higuain. An attempt by Sergio Aguero couldn't get past the keeper, disappointing his former father-in-law Diego Maradona. Then a header by Marcos Rojo went wide. After withstanding waves of attack in the opening half, Iran's Reza Ghoochannejad almost broke the deadlock. Argentine keeper Sergio Romero impressed fans throughout the second half with some brilliant saves. As both sides braced for a draw, Messi proved his worth once more with a stunning stoppage time winner. The 1-0 victory sent Argentina marching into the knockout stage. In Group G, Germany looked to build on their 4-0 whitewash of Portugal when they faced Ghana. Thomas Müller showed he could do more other than scoring, with this back flick setting up Toni Kroos. But the Ghanaians looked the better team in all aspects, testing German keeper Manuel Neuer with long-range attempts. Germany finally went ahead in the 51st minute, and Mario Götze found the net in unusual style. His knee deflected home his own header. But the Black Stars were back on level terms just moments later. Andre Ayew rose above everyone to equalize. The crowd was stunned 9 minutes later, and unmarked Asamoah Gyan made no mistake with his powerful strike to put Ghana up 2-1. In a move that baffled some German fans, veteran Miroslav Klose came on for Götze in the 69th minute. But the substitution proved to be crucial as Klose prodded home with his first touch of the game. That puts the 36-year-old on par with Brazilian legend Ronaldo, the all-time goal scorer in the World Cup with 15 goals each.
Finally, it can't get any sweeter for two players gracing the World Cup in Brazil. An Indian confectioner has paid tribute to them in his own unique way. Robin van Persie of Holland and Thomas Müller of Germany have netted 3 goals each so far in Brazil. But they are also scoring with fans in Kolkata, including a confectioner who's carved models of them made out of milk solids and sugar. But that's not all. There's also a cake resembling a football field with players too.
So I'm planning to order one and for my son's birthday. Yeah, it's very good. And the whole concept is very good. The football fever, you know, it's very encouraging. My son is also watching all the matches in the night, getting late for the school every day, and this will be very good motivation for him again. He will be very happy.
Cricket is the main sport in India, but football is growing in popularity as more youngsters acquire a taste for the game. The weather forecast for the next few days. It'll be mainly cloudy tomorrow with thunderstorms in the morning. Temperatures will rise to a maximum of 30 degrees from a low of 26. It'll be the same on Tuesday, but the sun will reappear by midweek. Here's a look at the weather around the world. That's the news for Sunday night. Thanks for watching ATV. I'm Leung. Good night.
Coming up, Newsline. What happens out there is real. Get the latest European news and current affairs. Whatever happens, when it happens. you are always the first to know. Check in current news. European Journal, Tuesday night at 8. How much do you know about the brain? Every move you make, any pain you feel, it's the brain that takes control. Researching the amazing world of the nerve center of the human body. There's always more scientists are eager to know. Documentary World, The Mysteries of the Brain, tomorrow night at 9.
You are advised to swim only at beaches managed by the Leisure and Cultural Services Department. Do not enter the water when the shark warning flag and the red flag are hoisted. Avoid swimming in the sea at dawn, dusk, in murky water, at night, or in the absence of lifeguards. You should not swim if you have any open wound or if you are bleeding. Always follow the instructions of lifeguards and policemen at the beach.
Elemental Evolution. The ATV 2014 Miss Asia pageant is about to start. Ladies, come and show the world your beauty.
The ATV 2014 Miss Asia pageant, waiting for your participation. Come and join us now.
Elemental Evolution. ATV Miss Asia Pageant 2014 is now inviting applications. Elemental Evolution, ATV Miss Asia Pageant 2014. Application form is available at ATV website and the following locations.
Hainan 深呼吸，回族经典，中华回乡文化园。中国王牌景区沙湖，魅力沙都沙坡头，塞上湖城休闲银川，塞上江南神奇宁夏。
This program only reflects the personal views of the program hosts and/or the individual contributors.
I'm Michael Chigani. Tonight, Hong Kong in political crisis. Now, I say Hong Kong is in political crisis. Before we go into that, let me introduce my guest, Miriam Lau. You're the honorary chairman of the Liberal Party, once a legislative councillor. Dennis Kwok, you are a legislative councillor and
Hello,
you
Michael.
represent the legal sector, and you're also a member of the Civic Party, right? Now, I say Hong Kong in political crisis. Okay, Dennis Kwok, the white paper, I believe, has plunged Hong Kong into political crisis. And I believe that there may have been a small chance of a compromise between the two of your different parties on political reform. But I think that small chance have now evaporated. Do you agree with that?
I think the issuing of the white paper by the Central People's Government at this juncture is very worrying. And if you look at the contents of the white paper, what is alarming is what is new and what has been left out. What is new is they are beginning to talk about the comprehensive or overall jurisdiction over the affairs of the Hong Kong SAR and to exercise their power of effective administration over the Hong Kong SAR. All these terms are new. And what they have left out are things like Article 22, Paragraph 1 of the Basic Law, whereby no Central People's government or department shall interfere in the domestic affairs of Hong Kong. Now that's crucial because that's where we draw the line between one country, two systems.
Are they interfering in the domestic affairs?
Well, first of all, why issue the white paper at this juncture and mention things that I've just mentioned? Are they trying to redraw the line? Are they trying to reinterpret one country, two systems? What is going to happen to our high degree of autonomy? And what is happening to our independence of judiciary in the next decade?
I know that worries you. You're a barrister.
That is the worry of the legal profession. That should be, of course, also the worry of Hong Kong as a whole, because That is what makes us unique and what makes us special.
Well, let me put this to Miriam Lau. Now, Miriam Lau, you were a legislator. You're a Liberal Party, which is supposed to be a pro-government or pro-establishment party.
Pro-effective government.
Okay, pro-effective government party. Now, Dennis Kwok is a barrister, you're a solicitor. The Bar Association issued a very strongly worded statement in response to the white paper saying, no, Hong Kong's judges are not part of the administration, they're independent, and they were very worried by this white paper that said judges must be patriots who love the country, and that they're part of the administration. Now, the Law Society, of which you belong, issued another statement saying there's nothing wrong with that. The white paper is a very good document. I know you have spoken with me off the camera and you said there's nothing new in the white paper, but Dennis Kwok doesn't say that.
Yeah, I think some of my legal friends or some of my other friends may have read too much into the white paper. I still maintain I've read the white paper. I still maintain my stance that there's really nothing too new in it, except that the wordings may be differently used. I think the purpose of the white paper is, of course, a recount of what has happened after the return of sovereignty in 1997 and the implementation of the one country, two systems. But it actually reiterates many of the provisions of the Basic Law with emphasis. Like, for example, people begin to worry about, how about this high degree of autonomy. But it is a fact that under Article 2 of the Basic Law, we are authorized by Hong Kong is authorized by the National People's Congress to exercise this high degree of autonomy. It's not as if